Greetings and salutations, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well today. Today I have a very terrifying media and government cover-up. Before we get into it, a couple links. As you know, I rely on Patreon, PayPal, and my merch to help the channel to continue to grow and go. The links to Patreon and PayPal are in the description below. My merch is displayed directly under the video. Also, Dogman Frightening Encounters, Volume 1 through 3, the audiobook versions. They were written and researched by Tom Lyons, narrated and produced by me, Jeff Nadolny. Those audiobooks are available on Audible, Amazon, and iTunes, the links to which are also in the description as well. And finally, last but definitely not least, if you'd really like to help support this channel to continue to grow and go, simply subscribe, click the like button, and please leave a comment. It really does help. And guys, it definitely matters. Now, everyone, I have taken far too much of your time. Let's get on with today's upload, shall we? Also, the photos that you are looking at right now are photos from a subscriber. The subscriber sent them to me. I'm hoping to get them to come on the show and share a little bit more detail about them. But the subscriber stated these are Dogman photos, or this is a Dogman photo. Multiple photos, one Dogman. And hopefully I can get a response and they can come on and share their experiences with us, because these are pretty interesting and terrifying photos. All right, guys, let's get into today's upload. Oh, also, these attacks are out of Colorado. In the description or comment section yesterday, I saw a subscriber saying that I don't share experiences out of Colorado or Utah. They must be a new subscriber, and the list of other people with them must be too, because I had went state by state subscriber submissions and also talked about a very crazy attack that happened last year in Colorado. I have had encounters on this channel from every state except Hawaii that had Dogman involved. Hawaii, I had a reptilian, but multiple encounters out of Colorado. You just have to go back and listen to the one of many 2,000 videos on this channel. All right, guys, let's get into it. All right, today's upload is going to be a very strange case. It's out of Meeker, Colorado. A subscriber suggested I look into it. I did. And I actually, the date of the news article they had sent me was November 30th. When I started looking, it went back to like October 1st, or the first week of October, excuse me. And it's very strange because there's a lot of twists and turns to it. I will be sharing some photos. Some I cannot share because they're far too graphic. I want you guys to remember that statement, because in the next couple of minutes you're going to hear something that, if these photos were too graphic to share on YouTube, then the cause of death wouldn't be a contributing factor. October 20th, 2022. The number of calves that have died south of Meeker, starting nearly 2 weeks ago, has grown to 33, prompting questions as to whether disease, not wolves, was the cause of death. Colorado Parks and Wildlife confirmed and updated the death toll Wednesday and said it was awaiting test results on the animals as part of the state's wildlife agency's investigation. On October 7th, the State Wildlife Agency announced it was investigating whether wolves were responsible for the deaths of young cows after some showed injuries consistent with wolf attacks on White River National Forest lands near Meeker. In an article that I'm going to share with you, stated that 18 head of 600-pound calves had been killed. Last week, Colorado Park and Wildlife stated the number of dead calves had grown to 22, with more injured. So, if it's disease, how are they getting injured? That's wacky, right? Ed Banks, who oversaw the United States Fish and Wildlife Service Gray Wolf Recovery Program in northern Rocky Mountains before retiring in 2011, said the pressure is on investigators to determine what happened, but the agency should take its time and do a thorough investigation, especially given the polarizing and emotional nature of wolves. Once wolves are mentioned, it's pretty hard to get them out of the story, and then it takes on a whole life of its own, he said. Everyone needs to just breathe and let them figure it out. Banks said wolves killing that many calves would be unusual, but that it could be a mix of wolves and something else. The Wildlife Agency said that 33 dead calves were discovered over a 2-week period earlier this month. The calves were reportedly spread out over 1.5 miles. Contrast to what has happened over the past 10 months in North Park, there are 8-member wolf pack near Walden has been confirmed to have killed 5 cows, 2 dogs, and 2 calves over a large area of Jackson. Other wolf predation claims by ranchers in the area have been denied by Colorado Park and Wildlife. Colorado Park and Wildlife has said some of the calves in the Meeker area showed damage consistent to wolf predation, but did not confirm the killings were done by wolves. Now, predation is an attack. The agency has continually said necropsies of the calves were conducted. The investigation is ongoing. The agency officers and biologists are working closely with the rancher to determine the cause. Wednesday, the agency told the Coloradian, a veterinarian with extensive cattle knowledge, has been included in the investigation. Investigation details send mixed signals on whether wolves are to blame. It's sending mixed signals already. You've got them talking about disease, talking about wolves, talking about some mysterious animal now. Some details have emerged to indicate wolves might have killed the calves, while other details appear to contradict that premise, prompting some to speculate that wolves are not involved. According to the Fence Post article, all 18 of the original calves found dead suffered extensive trauma and damage to their flanks, bite marks on their heads and faces, some missing, and damaged tails, extensive bruising on both sides. I know, and I'm sure the majority of you know, how big a cow is. For a wolf to bite a cow in the head is unheard of. It's probably the stupidest statement. It gets crazier. It really does, guys. We're only a couple of pages in this article, or these articles. Colorado Parks and Wildlife said necropsy showed injuries consistent with wolf attacks on some of the calves, and that there is not currently evidence of other predators that may have killed the calves. So they just contradicted themselves. Those signs point to wolves being the cause, but the agency said there are no confirmed wolf reports from the area. Only unconfirmed wolf sightings from the public late last fall in the general area where the attacks occurred. State wildlife officers put up game cams but recorded no evidence of wolf activity, and there have been no further reported sightings. The agency said it is looking for tracks and scat to confirm if the calves' deaths were due to wolf attacks. This is a weird one for sure, Banks said. Typically, this time of year, wolf attack on elk and other prey is lower because the prey is in its best shape of the year, and some wolves turn to cattle because they're more vulnerable. The impacted rancher told the fence post there was no sign of the cattle being poisoned by eating larkspur, which is toxic to cattle. Respiratory disease emerges as a possible cause. These pictures are so graphic that I cannot share. If you guys look up Meeker, Colorado, calf attack or cow attacks, you will be able to see the photos yourself, the ones that I'm not going to share today. But I'm warning you, first and foremost, they are very graphic. The biggest killer of cattle is respiratory disease. Yeah, respiratory disease just strips skin back, and there are bite marks between teeth that wide. That's a respiratory disease, right, guys? Yeah. We're buying it, right? The biggest killer of cattle is respiratory disease, which accounts for about 25% of deaths, adult cows, calves, according to the U.S. Department of Agriculture. North Park rancher Don Gittleson and his son Dave Gittleson admit they have not seen dead calves in Meeker, but said some details point to the possibility of respiratory disease as the cause of at least some of the deaths. I'm about to throw this because these people raise cattle. And if they saw these photos, I don't know what it says for the education. I'm not insulting anybody in Colorado. I'm insulting these two morons. Because if you guys look up these photos and the ones I show you, it's... The two have had several confirmed wolf kills on their cattle by North Park Pack and are familiar with what a wolf kill looks like. They said they also test their cattle for bovine high altitude disease, which they suspect may be killing the calves near Meeker. I want to hit these people. The disease is also known as brisket disease, is a condition that occurs when cattle pasture at high altitude. Low oxygen saturation in the air leads to pulmonary hypertension, fluid buildup, and heart failure. The deaths generally happen over a period of time. The disease gets its name because of its occurrence in cattle at elevation of around 5,000 feet or more. According to the Colorado State University Veterinarian Teaching Hospital, where the disease was first discovered, a calf loss of 25% is uncommon in high elevations of Colorado and Wyoming, according to the American Veterinarian Manual. September and October are peak of the high altitude disease. This is one of the photos that I can share with you. You can see 2 inches in between teeth drag marks. Does that look like high altitude disease on cattle? High altitude bovine disease? To me, it looks like it was attacked, and we'll keep going. The calves that died near Meeker are located on public grazing allotment on the White River National Forest near LK Ranch, which is located at 6,400 to 8,200 feet, according to the ranch website. Treatment for bovine high altitude disease typically requires moving cattle to a lower elevation, though animals can still die from the disease once compromised. Prevention is done through selective breeding for resistant shock and testing, which the Gilsons practice on their ranch through CSUs. Tim Holt, a veterinarian and international known expert on the disease. It is unknown if the ranch where the deaths occurred tests for this disease. Originally, I thought in Meeker it was wolves. Then I thought it may be a mix, Dave Gittleson said, noting the presence of disease is readily apparent by looking at the heart of the dead animal. Now I think it's a disease. I just showed you guys one of the pictures that's not graphic. This Dave Gittleson, whatever, man. Dude, don't be dumb. Come on, fella. Jeez, crow. Gittleson said, Colorado Parks and Wildlife needs to change how it conducts possible wolf attack investigations. He said the agency needs to post wolf attack photos on its website to help ranchers identify possible wolf kills and train its wildlife officers on how to identify cattle disease. The Wildlife Agency denied the Coloradonian request to examine photos of the dead calves due to an ongoing investigation. Remember, this article is older. Gittleson said it only took a couple days for state wildlife officials to confirm wolf kills on his property, and that it was before the Wildlife Agency hired a person whose responsibility it is to determine wolf attacks. I understand not rushing to conclusions, but by now they should know if it's a wolf or not. This needed to be nipped in the bud when there were 18 killed. I've said it for a long time, either pay these as wolf kills or figure out what killed them. It would be cheaper to figure out what killed them. This is the article that was sent to me. Remember, guys, just look up Meeker, Colorado cattle attacks and go to the Fence Post article from November 28th, and all of these pictures will be there that I can't share because I really can't. Update. As reported in the article dated October 7th, the one I just read, we found 18 calves dead within 1.5 miles of each other. The investigation performed with Colorado Parks and Wildlife Services pointed to wolf attacks. Several carcasses had their tails missing, marks consistent with canine teeth. The carcasses had hemorrhaging in locations where investigators are trained to look when distinguishing canine attacks from that of a bear or lion. After a long day of necropsies, we spent time together trying to consider any other possible cause of death. With several decades of experience managing livestock in the area and several decades of wildlife management by the DWM and Wildlife Services, we could not come up with an answer that was supported by the evidence. We then made the decision that our neighboring producers would need to be notified immediately. We realized by doing so, this story would be in the wind and come out in the press after traveling through social media. We felt it's important to speak directly to the press so the most accurate information can be reported. You don't hear that too often, do you? No. In the days following, we continued our annual gathering back to the ranch headquarters for fall shipping. Along the way, we started finding dead calves every few miles. At this point, we brought a veterinarian in with the investigation to look at other possibilities. These investigations brought black leg to our attention. As we researched this disease and other outbreaks in other regions of the world with large casualties, some similarities to this situation is recognized. The following are quotes from case studies involving outbreaks of this disease. The spores are harmless to the animal until wounds, trauma, bruising, damage, and muscle tissue in such a way that an environment is created that is favorable to the spores to begin their vegetative growth. Spores remain dormant until poorly understood triggering events occur, which may include local tissue hypoxia due to traumatic injury. The rest of that news article is just a bunch of medical veterinarian terms which actually have no bearing on this case, because the next updated article, dozens of cattle slaughtered by mysterious creature. Dozens of cattle in Colorado have been slaughtered over the past 2 months by an elusive predator that has left no tracks. In October, 18 dead cows were found just outside of the town of Meeker. Some looked as though they were killed by wolves, but officials in Colorado Park and Wildlife found no wolf tracks or evidence of the predator in the area. In the 2 months that local wildlife experts have searched for a culprit, at least 40 calves have died. The rancher who lost those calves, Jerry Klingsmith, wrote in the fence post that what he thinks may have happened. The most likely scenario would be the following: an apparent canine attack may have triggered the onset of a still inclusive cause of death. Klingsmith, along with veterinarians, officials with the Colorado Parks and Wildlife, and other experts continue to investigate the cause of death. While the case largely remains a mystery, a new theory unrelated to wolves have emerged. Both Klingsmith and Colorado Parks and Wildlife Northwest Region Manager Travis Black said the cows may have been infected with black leg, a disease caused by a bacteria. Pathology results do not confirm whether that's the cause. Both Klingsmith and Colorado Parks and Wildlife Northwest Regional Manager Travis Black said the cows may have been infected. Why'd they put that in twice? After mentioning the possibility of it being caused by a disease during November 17th, State Wildlife Commission began, Black said a handful of calves sustained injuries consistent with wolf attacks, some missing tails, marks consistent with canine teeth. While cows can develop a variety of diseases, it remains unclear whether Klingsmith's cattle had suffered any health issues. Being attacked by dogs or wolves would have been exacerbated any health issues within the herd. Officials have utilized aerial flights, howling surveys, and game cameras to look for wolves and wolf tracks to no avail. There's also been no confirmed wolf reports in the area, only confirmed sighting, leaving officials confused and desperate for answers. We have zero evidence of wolves being in the area. Right now, we don't have a solid answer of what happened, and that's from Travis Black, the Colorado Parks and Wildlife Northwest Regional Manager. Guys, you saw the photo that I showed you. You may not think that it's graphic, but honestly, go on Google Meeker, Colorado cattle attack, look for fence post article, and the pictures are there. We're not talking calves. When you hear calves, you think of baby cows. These may be calves in like whatever aspect of age, but these are big cows. These are not small. We're talking 600-pound calves. They said that there was a pack of 8 wolves in one pack that they're aware of. I don't see it being wolves doing this much damage, guys. It just doesn't make sense to me. And once again, they give us some BS. They fill it up with, once you see these photos, you're going to ask yourself why they would even consider talking about bacterial illnesses. Bacterial illnesses do not just rip chunks off of cows out of their backside, their tail. And like he said, it wasn't just like the flanks. There was the head and face were attacked. The whole body of these cows were attacked. That has got to be something very large to do that. To take down a 600-pound cow is not something easily done. Especially by 8 wolves in a huge herd of cattle. Just doesn't make sense. And then you can't find any tracks. So then they say, oh, well, maybe it was a bacteria. Unless it was flesh-eating disease or flesh-eating bacteria, then maybe, but it was not. It was bovine high-altitude sickness. This is a very strange case. And usually every year around this time, we get a lot of strange cases of animal attacks, human attacks. Just very crazy. Please just trust me on this. Look up the photos. Meeker, Colorado, cattle attack. And you guys will see what I mean. So, with that, my friends, I want to thank you very much for listening. And, I mean, just the article. Unknown predator. We can't find any tracks of wolves. Walk into it with an open mind and look at the photos yourself. And come back with your own conclusion. With that, my friends, I want to thank you for all your support. It truly means the world to me. You guys rock. I couldn't ask for a better family in this Dogman community. May the Great Spirit watch over us all, and may He guide us down that path that we call life. Stay safe, everyone, especially if you're in the region of Colorado and you think that you're going to go out and look around. Be safe. Be hyper vigilant of your surroundings. Thank you, guys. Have a good night.